So, Leeds United have a new debutant, at least since the Stoke City match, and we know all there is to know about his brother. So, let's have a talk about Harry Gray. But before we do that, let's have a little bit of a talk about something that Harry Gray can't do, and that is have a little bit of a play of match bingo. Give me a second and I'll dive headfirst into it. Match bingo is a new and interesting way of watching football in which you can win cash prizes for getting lines on offsides, corners, VAR checks, goals at certain times. You get a cash prize for a line, for two lines, or for a full house, but make sure you're only playing if you're 18 plus, and stay gamble aware. The link is down below in addition to my affiliate link. I timed that one reasonably well, but on the subject of Harry Gray, you need to dive headfirst into him and find out a little bit more about him. The kid is just 16 years old, which is a ridiculous fact to open on. 16 years of age and is the fourth youngest player in Leeds United's history, which is a ridiculous statistic. Like, Jesus Christ. Obscene. Came off the bench against Stoke City, but I then realised that I didn't really know too much about the guy. I'd sort of assumed he was a centre forward, but other people will do the same thing, and we still won't all know that much about him. So I've done a little bit of research. I've written up an article which is going up somewhere in a few days' time. I will let you know when. I'll share it around on Twitter and everything. But I thought I'd take a little bit of a deep dive into it. So first off, we need to talk about his on the pitch kind of stuff. And he's had a genuinely fairly good season on the pitch. So the data that I used earlier in the season might have been a little bit outdated. Never mind, it's completely fine. The guy's got 3 goals in under 500 minutes at an under 21s level. And yes, you might approach that and say, well, for a striker, those are pretty damn usual numbers. You're getting a goal every, couple of games or so it's completely fine. That's not even the case, because the guy isn't even strictly a striker. He's often played as a number 10 as an alternative, and that's what we saw in the match against Stoke City, where we took Brendan Aronson off, put on Harry Gray, and he sort of did that job. Did a hell of a lot of tracking back, which I was really impressed by. I wasn't really expecting that because, again, I still thought he was basically a number 9 while still trying to get himself involved in the attacks. Did relatively little in that regard. Like, I don't think he had a successful pass at any point. He did commit a foul, though, so there's that little leads in him. But I thought that was quite an interesting introduction for him, and I'd love to see a little bit more of him against Bristol City. Whether or not we can is a pretty big question mark. He has had a few of his coaches comment on him, including Aaron Lennon, who said that he finishes off his left foot as good as any senior pro I've seen, whilst also complimenting his right as being basically just as good. So he's 2-footed, just absolute wizard of a child. And you could see a little feature of his game that I quite liked, and that is his sort of on-pitch intelligence by the way that he played against Stoke City. He was constantly scanning, constantly checking over his shoulder, checking this angle, seeing what the pitch looked like to make sure that even if he didn't get the ball, which he very rarely did because, I mean, you've come on with 5 minutes left, but if he did, he would make sure that he was in space. He'd made a run to be in the best possible position. And even if the other side got the ball back, he could counter that. He knew where to press to cause some issues. And a lot of this has come from all of the work that he's done behind the scenes. From a piece in The Athletic written by Baron Cross, one of his previous coaches said that he's hyper-intelligent, his thinking frequency is buzzing at a much higher level. He just loves challenges. Challenges in this case being along the lines of puzzles rather than being along the lines of flying in and snapping someone. But that's what you want to get from a number 10. Someone that thinks, how are we going to unlock a back line here? What is the next step in making sure that this performance works out? And a significant proportion of this reportedly comes through his very thorough video analysis work. There was one story that was told that featured Harry Gray complaining when one of his coaches was about to turn the TV off at a video analysis session, because he said, no, whoa, they're about to score here. And he basically talked his coach through step by step what the team he was watching were going to do and how that was going to lead to a goal. And yes, it's a clip he's going to have seen before, but it's that kind of thing, that sort of significant attention to detail, that means that Harry is in the best possible position to improve his own game. Because if he's putting all of that effort into a Scottish Premier League match, God knows what he's going to have done with the information from Stoke. He's going to have Terminator mode looked at every single moment he was on the pitch and gone, okay, how could I have improved that? And that's ultimately what we kind of need here. We need to be in a position where it's a sort of, okay, he's a number 10 that's got an understanding of himself and knows how to improve, which as a 16-year-old is huge. And you got to add on to that the fact that he's sort of inherited being pressure-proof. At no point last season did you see Archie sort of crumble under the weight of Elland Road. And I think a lot of that will have come from his relatives. A lot of that will have come from the fact that he's got a great uncle and a granddad who 50 years ago, almost to the day, played in a European Cup final together and played a pretty damn big role in the club at that stage when it was winning trophies. And those lessons are going to be passed down from generation to generation. And as he's the second Gray of this third generation, he's going to have learned a hell of a lot at this point. Add on to that the fact that he's trained with the senior squad since he was 15 and has been talked about since he was 14. We have a star here, and that's where we get to talk about his level. Genuinely, I believe he's a superstar in waiting, and I don't want to be one of those people that's like, we're going to put all the weight of expectation onto this kid, and he's going to be great, only for the things to not work out. But I just think it's important to note that at this stage, even though he's only played a few minutes of senior football, there is definitely a player in there. And the more we understand that, the more we are understanding of him and give him a bit of time to keep developing, because I know that as a fan base, we quite like sort of rushing things a bit. That won't help in this situation. If we are clever with Harry, if we are able to stay in the Premier League, if we are able to offer him some decent minutes, then we unlock his potential. And at Thorpe Arch, when Archie Gray was here, he got asked a few times if he was Harry's brother, rather than the other way around. And Archie himself has said that Harry was the better player. And if you consider how good Archie is, standing in at centre-back, at right-back, at left-back, in midfield for Spurs in European competition, just imagine where Harry's going to be at if we manage things correctly. He's very clearly a ridiculously good player. So in terms of what next, manage his minutes, make sure that he's developing. At some point probably send him out on loan. But there's something genuinely very, very good here. And if we're able to stay in the Premier League, we won't lose him like we ended up losing Archie. And I feel very good about that. But at the end of the day, as always, that is just what I think. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Also, scan the QR code to check out Match Bingo. That's always much appreciated. At some point in the next few days, I'm going to be releasing what the Creator Cup shirts look like. I'm wearing one of them right now, but I'm also wearing a jumper. And yeah, that's it for now. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's always massively appreciated. Even become a channel member. It's $2.99 a month, and throughout this transfer period, you're going to be getting a bunch of news before anyone else, because I'll record videos like this at currently midnight, release them at 7 a.m. It's there for you when you wake up. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.